Hello friends, welcome again to the tetrahedron chemistry classes. So guys, in the lecture series of microwave spectroscopy, if you can recall, in the lecture 4 I have discussed the degeneracy in your microwave spectroscopy. Okay, and today is my lecture 5 and probably this is my last lecture in the microwave spectroscopy. Okay, and this will finish that particular topic for your CSIR net and the gate examination. So before going into the details of the lecture 5, I want to just recap whatever we have done in the lecture 4. Okay, so in the lecture 4 I have explained the concept of the degeneracy and I have given you the formula of the degeneracy, that is Gj equals to 2j plus 1. Okay, and then we do some of the derivation kinds of things, and finally I have given you the formula of the rotational angular momentum. Okay, and the formula for that angular momentum is equal to under root of j times j plus 1 in the units of it is quantized in the units of h on 2 pi. Okay, then we explained that right hand curl rule, and after that I have given you the degeneracy, what will happen when you go from j equal to 0 to j equals to 1 to j equals to 2, and then I have explained this degeneracy of the states. Okay, for j equals to 1, then I have explained for j equals to 2, and finally I end up with this particular diagram, if you can recall. And after that I have explained I have solved one or two numericals based on this. Okay, so this up to this point we have done. Okay, that means the degeneracy of the energy states. Now my last lecture is on you see the effect of isotopic substitution on energy level. So this is my lecture 5. So in fact it is starting from here. I can write lecture 5, probably it is the last lecture. Okay, so guys, in that case what you can observe here, this is the microwave spectrum of your carbon monoxide. This is the microwave spectrum of the carbon monoxide, and if you see this carbon monoxide spectrum, then see, this is not a complete spectrum, guys. Remember, this is not a complete spectrum, this is the part of the spectrum. So I can write here part of a spectrum. Okay, and see guys, in that spectrum you are observing certain peaks. Okay, say this is the peak number 1, right? This is the peak number 2, this is the peak number 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7. 7 peaks are shown here, and these are the wave numbers. Okay, and now if you notice here, along with these peaks, say they are the large intensity peaks, right? And large intensity peaks in any spectrum correspond to the see, generally higher intensity actually correspond to the higher abundance of that particular thing. See, I have explained this thing in your microwave spectroscopy, in mass spectrometry, and I have also explained that integration pattern in the NMR spectroscopy also. So likewise here, if you have a very tall peak or very high intensity peak, so that means that particular component is very high, that component reaching to the detector is very high. Okay, now another very important pattern which you can notice from here is what? A very small peak. See, this is a small peak, and this is another small peak, and similarly this peak is also there, this peak is also there, this peak is also there. Okay, and this peak is also there. So guys, so what actually I am telling you, this one, see, this peak is due to the 12 carbon O16 isotope. So these carbon 12 is there and your oxygen 16 is there, and the peak which is the smaller one, say which is this one. See guys, this peak is due to the another isotope of the carbon, that is C, and oxygen will remain the same. This is something very important, and you know your 12 carbon, that means this particular isotope is almost 99%. Its percentage is natural percentage abundance is very high, and this your carbon 13 roughly 1%, it is natural abundance is 1% only, this one. So when the natural abundance is 1%, that means this can be detected in the very less amount in the spectroscopy. So that's why the peak is very small, right? So peak which actually these peaks actually, right? These are the very small peaks, and these are the due to the 13C isotopes of the carbon. Okay. Now there are certain questions which actually need to be answered in explaining the microwave spectrum completely. Okay. And what is the important thing here? You can notice a very important thing here. I am explaining you. Say first I am removing this. What you are observing, guys, see here this spacing between the high intensity peak and the low intensity peak. Okay. And you see here again this is the distance between the two peaks, and you see again this is the distance between these two peaks, and again you see the distance between two peaks, and again you see the distance between two peaks. Okay. And see guys, remember in that case your J value is also increasing. Okay. So here you see J value is also increasing. So what you are observing, when the J value increases, right, the spacing between the peaks, see this spacing is quite large when the J value is very high. So you know J is directly proportional to the wave number, so you can understand in that manner also. Like in that case here you can see this gap is very narrow. That means this distance is very narrow between the smaller peak and the larger peak. So the conclusion is that when we increase the J value, then the spacing between the high intensity peak and the low intensity peak actually increases. This is a very important parameter which you need to know. Okay. And another very important thing which you can notice here. Okay. See, if you extend this line downward somewhere here, so this line is having the energy corresponding to this wave number, while this having the energy corresponding to this number. What is the meaning of that? That means the heavier isotope, see, if you have the heavier isotope, then it will have low rotational energy, low Fj. Its rotational energy would be very low. That means its wave number would be low when compared to the high intensity peak. So what we can say here, on isotopic substitution, the energy gap between the successive rotational energy level decreases, since this see guys, since this gap is decreasing, this gap is increasing. Okay. So what we can see here, see, we will see later when this gap actually increases, what will happen? The energy gap between the successive energy level decreases when we substitute a particular atom with the heavier isotope. What I am trying to say, when you check the spacing, right, spacing between the J levels for this particular 12CO16 compound, then the spacing would be very high, not very high but slightly high. But if you substitute this carbon 12 with carbon 13, then the energy gap between the J levels actually decreases. Okay. This thing you have to think, right? This thing you have to remember actually. Now can we prove this, why this is happening, right? So there is a clear cut way by which we can explain how actually it is happening. So how it is happening, say for example, I am giving you, say you are having the rotational energy Fj, and you know this rotational energy Fj is basically what, B times J times J plus 1, and the unit is in centimeter inverse. Say this is your equation number 2, and you know your rotational constant B is what actually? Planck's constant, that is h divided by 8 pi square I times C. Say this is your equation number 2, and all things are constant in that case except this I. Okay. So this I is what? Your moment of inertia, and that moment of inertia equals to mu I equals to mu multiplied by r square. Say this is the equation number 3. Okay. Now see, if you check this equation 2 and if you check the equation number 3, then you can very straightforward write the relation B equals to h on 8 pi square mu r square C. So what is the meaning of that? If the mu increases, then this B decreases, because they have the inverse relationship. When B decreases, then definitely this rotational energy also increases. And when actually, why this mu increases? See, mu is what actually? Mu is your reduced mass, which is what? M1 multiplied by M2 if you are talking about the heteronuclear diatomic molecule, and M1 plus M2. Okay, and if one of the isotope is heavy, that means it will increase. When this will increase, then B will decrease. Since B is directly proportional to F, that means F will have this Fj rotational energy, this also decreases. That's why on isotopic substitution the energy gap between the successive J levels decreases. Okay, this is something very important which you guys should know. Okay, and one more thing, you may argue that this R is also there. Why this R is not changing on the isotopic substitution? So please remember that it is mentioned in the every textbook. Okay, internuclear distance, that is the bond length, does not change on the isotopic substitution. This is something very important. Okay, so this actually I have already explained to you. Now say for example, you are having say two different isotopes, right? Say one more thing actually which I want to show you, that say, okay, this diagram you can see here. See, this is this solid line actually, this solid line corresponding to the B value, and this dashed line is corresponding to the B dash value. Okay, B dash actually is for heavier isotope, B value for heavier isotope. Okay, and see why this is happening actually. See, in everywhere you can see this pattern. I have already explained you, when the J value increases, the energy gap between the isotopic peaks increases. So here you can see this gap is quite low, as I have explained in my last slide. This is again increasing, this is again increasing, and this is again increasing on increasing the J value. But this I have explained, but my problem is that why this actually the peak corresponding to the substituted heavier isotopic substituted is actually having the lower wave number or the lower energy. Why the B is actually B dash? See, you can see here why this B dash is lower than B. Can we explain this thing? Okay, now we can see how we can explain this thing. Say for example, you are having, say this is your say equation number 1. You can write this as equation number 1, and say you are having the heavier isotope. So I am putting star over there. Okay, and you have substituted that one with the heavier isotope. Second you are taking as common. Okay, this should be divided by M1 star plus M2. Say this is the equation number 2. Now if you take the ratio of these two, that means if you divide equation 1 by equation 2, okay, dividing equation 1 by equation 2, so you will have mu divided by the mu star. Okay, and that will give you M1 M2. Okay, because this is M1 M2, this should be divided by M1 plus M2. So we are doing little bit of algebra, nothing else. Okay, so this should be multiplied by M1 star plus M2. This should be divided by M1 star multiplied by M2. See, because we are taking the ratio, right? When we are taking the ratio, then obviously this thing will change actually. I hope you understand this much of algebra. Okay, say now if you rearrange this equation, then what you can do, let me check whether we can cancel something or not. Okay, yes, we can. M2. Okay, we can cancel the M2. This M2 and this M2 get cancelled, and when this cancelled, then you will have your M1 times M1 star plus M2 divided by M1 star, which is here, times M1 plus M2. This is how we can do that. Now what we can do, that we can rearrange this particular expression. Say this is your equation number 3. So what I can do, I can write rearranging equation 3. So what I am doing in the rearranging, say mu by mu star were already there, and I am taking m1 common now this time. Say if you go to the previous slide, from here actually I am taking m1 star common. So let me show you. I am taking this m1 star common outside, and from denominator I am taking m1 common, taking outside to the bracket. Okay. So what will happen then if I do this? Okay. So this will clearly show you m1 star which I took common, then obviously 1 plus m2 by m1 star. Okay. For this you need to know the little bit of your algebra, secondary algebra, okay, which you have studied in your class 9th and 10th. And then m1 star was already there. I am taking m1 as common. So inside the bracket we will have m2 divided by m1. This is how we can do that. Now these things are common, so we can cancel them, and then you will have relation 1 plus m2 over m1 star divided by 1 plus m2 over m1. So this is the value of your this is the value of the ratio of the two reduced masses. Now first of all you see one very important thing. See, if I can take here, say I am taking for this mu. So mu is basically from this particular expression, you see here, this mu actually is corresponding to this value. Okay. So I am writing mu equals to 1 plus m2 divided by m1 star. Okay. Since m1 star is what? Heavy isotope. Okay. If this isotope is heavy and its relation with this mu is actually inverse, so that means for heavier isotopes the reduced mass would be low. So from here we can conclude reduced mass of the compound or the molecule having the isotope which is the lighter one would be less than the reduced mass of the molecule which is having the higher isotope. This is something very, very important. Okay. Now you can see here, if you now this thing, you know, when mu is actually small, so this is the smaller value and mu star is the higher value or the larger value. If you take the ratio, then this ratio definitely would be less than 1. You can prove this particular point. Say for example, the mu is 5, right, and say this is 6. So definitely it would be less than 1. Okay, that means 0.68 is 48, somewhere around 0.8. Okay, so this is something very, very important which you should know actually. Now from here actually one very important thing you can notice here, since m1 star, that means the heavier isotope would have the higher mass than the m1, therefore what will happen, 1 upon m1 star would be lesser than 1 upon m1, which would be quite obvious. Say in that case your m1 is having the higher mass and it is having the lower mass. Say if you divide that, see again you can do little bit of mathematics to understand by yourself. Okay. So this is heavy, then the ratio would be actually lower. If this is lighter, then the ratio would be the higher. So we can come here actually. So from here you can see here what you can conclude here. Okay. So m2 by m1, see you see here this m2 by m1 star and then m2 by m1. In the light of this particular expression, what we can write? We can simply write m2 over m1 star is less than m2 by m1. Okay. Now another very important thing which you should know in the next slide, actually, say, since you know your rotational constant B is inversely proportional to the reduced mass. I have explained, I have shown you this thing. You see, this B is inversely proportional to the reduced mass. In this slide you can see here, this B is inversely proportional to the reduced mass. Okay. So when this happens, what you can write here, thus mu by mu star would also have the inverse relationship. So instead of say when they are having the inverse relationship, okay, so what you can write for mu, you can write 1 by B. This should be divided by 1 by B dash. If you solve this one, then this will give you 1 by B and B star, not B dash. I should put the B star over there. Okay, this is B star. Okay, by 1. So what relation you are having? You are relation having mu by mu star, that is equals to B star by B. So this is something very important, very important relationship. Say this is the equation number 5. Okay. So now how it can reflect in the microwave spectrum. Okay. Now you can see here, this when they are having the inverse relationship, okay, then definitely your B bar, see if this is high, right, if this is high, okay, and it is having the inverse relationship. What I am trying to say here, you can see when this is high, then this should be low according to this relation, because they are having the inverse relation. So this actually reflect in your graph also, you see here. That's why this B dash is all this B dash is having the lower value. So this is how we can prove this thing. Okay, this is something very important. So B star or the B dash would always have the lower value than the B when you substitute the isotope. So how we can show this thing? Say for example, see guys, you know this particular thing, your rotational energy, that is Fj, that is equals to B times J times, sorry, it is quite far, times J plus 1 in the centimeter inverse. Okay. So now you are having this J value, say this is J value of 3, so I can write J equals to 3, and then say I am having J equals to 2, and somewhere here I am having J equals to 1, and somewhere here I am having J equals to 0. Okay. So this is first energy level, rotational energy level, this is second rotational energy level, this is third rotational energy level, this is the fourth one. Okay. And say this is for your molecule type M1 dash M2, no heavier isotope, that means lighter isotope, lighter isotope. Okay. Now here in the second case you are having, say, situation of this kind, M star dash M2, M1 star rather, and this is your heavy isotope, heavy isotope. So as you know, on your heavy isotopic substitution, the energy gap between the successive J values decreases. So how we can explain this one? Say this is for 0, and now this energy gap will decrease. I can write in that manner, and then again it will decrease, and again that will decrease. Say it is coming somewhere here. So if you connect them all just like that, this is and this connected with this one, and this connected with this one, and this will remain same. Okay. Now you see the J value is increasing on the top. Okay, 0 to 1 to 3. So when the J value increases, you see here, if I extend this line somewhere here, so this is the energy gap. Okay, that is the Fj value. And for this one, you see here, if I extend this little bit further, so this is again the energy gap, and if I extend this little bit further, so this is again the energy gap. You see this gap is large and this gap is actually small. So this is actually shown in the graph actually. So that's why, that's why when the J value increases, this energy gap decreases. So it simply means what? If you are having, say, I'll try to keep the thing simple. Fj star would always be less than Fj. So this is reflecting in the in this graph also, right? So this Fj star corresponding to these energy levels, okay, and this Fj corresponding to these energy levels, okay. And you see when the J value increases, this energy gap also increases. How it is happening? You see the relation. This relation is actually the inverse relation, okay, with the B actually, okay. So this is how you can explain the thing. So guys, we can clearly see in the spectrum, you can see here in the spectrum, in this particular spectrum, okay, energy gap actually increases as the J value, increases as the J value increases, okay. So we can also verify this by putting some values of the J mathematically. You can do this, okay, by your own. I am not doing that. And then you can see here, next thing which is important, what information we can get from the rotational spectrum, okay. Information obtained from rotational spectrum. See guys, so what information we can have? See, we can calculate percentage of natural abundance of particular isotope, For this you are having the formula, percentage of natural abundance, I am writing Na for this one, that would be equals to intensity. I is the intensity of heavier isotope, say for example you are doing for the carbon monoxide, and oxygen is same, divided by intensity of the lighter isotope peaks, oxygen will remain the same, and this is multiplied by the 100, okay. So this is the formula of the natural abundance, okay. See guys, I already told you in the mass spectrometry also, intensity is directly proportional to the concentration of that particular species which is reaching to the detector, okay. So you can use this particular formula. And what other information you can get from this rotational spectrum? See, you can calculate the spacing between the isotopically substituted component, okay. How we can do that? Say for example, I am using the next page for this one. Say for example, you are having this particular problem, okay. You are having, say, you have been given, say, spacing between rotational lines, spacing between rotational lines, okay, of HF. It is given, say it is given 40 centimeter inverse, and then you have to calculate spacing between rotational lines of, say this is 1H, okay, and this is 2HF. You know this 1H is actually your protium, so I can write protium, lighter isotope, and this is your deuterium. This is your deuterium. This is heavier isotope, right? This you have to calculate. So how to do that? See, you have been given the spacing between the rotational lines, and what is the spacing between the rotation line in the rotational spectrum? You know, I have already told you this is actually 2b. This value is the 2b. Let us check actually. Okay, you can see here. See, this is, if you take these two lines, so this is 2b, this is 4b, that means the gap is 2b. This is 4b, this is 6b, that means again the gap is the 2b. So spacing between the rotational spectrum actually is the 2b actually, okay. So you have been given the, you have been given this 2b, and that 2b is having the value of 40, so you can write 40 here, and you can calculate b from here, 40 by 2, that will give you the 20 centimeter inverse. This is the value of the b, okay. Now you are having this relation, b star divided by b is having the inverse relationship between mu to mu bar, okay. Now if you calculate, say, you know, if you are having this HF, that means hydrogen is 1, fluorine is 19. If you have deuterium, that is DF, that is, it is 2, it is 19. So total it will give you the 20, and total it will give you the 21. This thing you should know actually, okay. And now if you take the reduced mass, so how we can calculate the reduced mass? You know, this is m1 multiplied by m2, so that means 1 multiplied by 19. So this is actually m1 and this is your m2, okay, and divided by 1 plus 19, okay. This should be again divided by, now you see, next is the heavier isotope, that means this 2 and 19. So what you can do, you can write 2 times 19 divided by 2 plus 19, okay. So if you solve this particular thing, okay, then you will have the value equals to b star by b is, say, I have calculated this 1.05 divided by 2, okay, and you know this b is given, so you are having this b star divided by b equals to 1.05 divided by 2, right, and this b is given as, you have calculated as 20, I think. Yes, you have calculated as 20. So what you can do, you can write b star divided by 20, that is equals to 1.05 divided by 2, or on simplifying you are having the b star, that would be equals to 20 times 1.05 divided by 2, right, and that will give you 10.5. So you are having what? B star is 10.5. So your answer is 10.5. But if you see, guys, you can remember one thing, if instead of 1.05, if you take this value as 1, okay, then this B star would be your 10. So you can calculate this rotational constant, okay. So and this is something very, very important, okay. Now you can see here, see guys, one more thing which you should note, whenever you are actually solving the problem based on the ratios, then no need to worry about the Avogadro's number, right, and the unit conversion into the kilogram and the gram. There is no need to add such things actually. That's why I did this thing, okay. So this is problem, this is the problem which can be solved very easily by this method actually. Now another application which you can have, say you can calculate the bond length actually, right. You can calculate the bond length or the natural abundance of the say heavier isotope. So say for example how we can do that. Say this is the question again. You have been given the numerical, okay, you have been given the CO molecule, and for this CO molecule you have been given first rotational absorption, right, and for this is for 12 or 16, this particular one, right, and that value is given somewhere around 3.84235 centimeter inverse. This is given actually, right, and say if you are having this one 13CO16, so for this one also you have been given rotational absorption, right, the values, right, and right now see we know actually this 13C is there already, this 13C is there because carbon is having only two kinds of the isotope, that's why I have written 13C, but this not actually makes sense because the question is based on this one also. So what I can do, I can write say Y, sorry, so I can write Y here, okay. For this actually the value is given 3.67337 centimeter inverse. So guys, you can clearly see here, since this rotational absorption energy is higher for the first one and lower for the second one, and you have already seen that when you substitute the compound with the molecule with the heavier isotope, then the rotational energy decreases, okay. So this you can see this energy is decreasing here 3.65, that means definitely this is the heavier isotope, that means the 13C, it should be 13C. So you can have idea about the things actually like that. So if you want to solve the problem in that manner, and you know the spacing, so and now this have been given, so you have to calculate the atomic mass of the higher isotope. So calculate mass of higher isotope. So on the one hand, see guys, you don't need to solve this particular problem, you directly actually write the 13C, but in the examination you may have the some other kind of the problem not given in terms of the CO, they may give you the A, B or X, Y, then you have the problem, okay. That's why I am solving this particular problem. So you know the spacing between the lines, if you go for the solution, spacing between lines in rotational spectrum is how much? You all know, it is 2b, okay, and this has been given you, that means 2b for this one. Say for first one you are calculating, it is 3.84235 centimeter inverse, and from here you are having the value of the b, and that b would be your 1.92118 centimeter inverse, okay. Similarly you can calculate for 2b star. So for 2b star the value is given what? 3.67337 centimeter inverse, okay, and from here actually you will have the b star data, okay, and that b star would be 1.83669 centimeter inverse. This I have calculated. Then you may calculate the ratio b over b star. So it is not necessary that you take the b over b star, you can take the b star over b also, this will not make any change actually in the final answer. So the value of the b was 1.92118 centimeter inverse divided by 1.83669 centimeter inverse, because these are the ratio, then it must be your unitless, then 1.046. This is the ratio you have been given actually, right, or you have calculated, not given, you have calculated. Now you are calculating say 12CO16 reduced mass, so mu that would be equals to what? 12 into 16 divided by 12 plus 16. If you solve this, or not solving, I am not solving, I am writing in that manner, we will do later. So this is the equation number 1, and say you are doing for now second heavier isotope, which is carbon 13 obviously, but we have to solve the problem. So in that case you are having the mu star, and that mu star is equals to what? Y multiplied by 16 divided by y plus 16. Say this is the equation number 2. Okay, now you can take the ratio. Now you can take the ratio, that is mu star divided by mu, that would be your 16y multiplied by 28 divided by y plus 16 multiplied by 192. So see guys, what I have done actually, when I took the ratio, then definitely this 28 will go up and 192 will come down to the denominator. Okay, so this is how I can write this this particular thing. Okay, now if you solve this value, so what it will give you actually, it will give you 2.33y over y plus 16. Okay, and you know this mu star by mu is basically what? B by B star, and you have calculated this B by B star in the last slide. This is 1. You can see this is 1.06. So what you can write? You can write here 1.06, and that 1.06 would be equals to this factor 2.33y divided by y plus 16. If you solve this one, it simply gives you 2.33y equals to 1.06 multiplied by y plus 16, and if you solve this thoroughly, then you will get 1.284y equals to 16.736. So from here you can calculate the y, which is 16.736 divided by 1.284. okay, and that will give you 13.034. that means 13 you are getting, it is carbon 13. So this is how you can solve the problems. Again, there is no need to go in the details of another things. Okay, so this is how you can solve the various problems. Okay, so see guys, these problems are very, very important, and you may have another questions from this particular topic also, but since the length of the video has increased so much, so I am not solving more problems. Okay, so see, after some time, whenever I'll get time, I'll solve all the problems which have been asked in the CSIR NET examination. Okay, now you can see guys, this is very, very important. Microwave oven, so how it works actually, right? You can see this microwave has shown you here. This is the microwave, and inside this something is there like fruits, all these things. See guys, how microwave works. See, if you want to actually fry the fish, if you want to fry the fish in microwave, you cannot do that. But if you want to cook the fish, then it is fine. See how microwave actually works. Say for example, you are having a fish. See, you are having the fish, okay, and what will happen? This fish will have water molecule inside its body. So when you put this fish in the microwave, what will happen? You know, this H2O is microwave active, so it will do the rotation. This microwave, this will do the rotation, and it will change its J level. Okay, when it will change the J level, what will happen? The rotational energy increases, and when the rotational energy increases, the fish starts cook from inside. That means the water molecule which is rotating, and when during the rotation they are actually exciting to the higher rotation energy level, and that energy when they falls back to the ground state, they will actually liberate that energy, and this energy is used to cook the food, right, or cook the fish. But instead, if you want to fry it, then your oil is not microwave active, you cannot fry it. Another question is that, see, you may think about the inside the fish there may be another things, there may be lots of biological molecules, but these biological molecules too heavy, they cannot rotate with the microwave in the microwave region actually. So this is something very, very important. In the microwave, cooking actually occurs from the inside by the rotation of the water molecule. Okay, so that's why you can actually you can cook the fish, but you cannot fry it. Similarly, you can boil the egg in the microwave, but you cannot fry that, you cannot prepare omelette in the microwave. So this is the functioning of the microwave oven. So these things are very, very important, which you guys should know. So guys, since the length of the video have increased so much, so I am stopping here, and this completes your microwave spectroscopy. I hope you like the lecture series. If you like the lecture series, kindly share that particular series with your friends also, and do not forget to like the video and subscribe the tetrahedron chemistry classes if you like the video. Thank you very much.